Alright, so what I was thinking is, like, you know what women, in that regard, what you were just talking about, it reminds me of, like, they're like animals and they just sniff the pheromones and, like, and test everything, all the environmental factors around them, and then they act according. I mean, it's like, do you think that's what it is? At some level.
Yeah, on a subconscious level. Like, I think they know they know which mate is best, but they also know that if they, you know, hang their vagina out on like a stick in front of the other guy, that he's gonna be like a fucking, like, you know, a horse with a carrot in front. Oh, can I get that? Oh, if I can get it, man. Like, literally, they will fucking take whatever they can get out of somebody. If they
who, like, women or men?
Females.
Oh yeah, women, yeah. And then a man will accept pretty much any woman that is offered because because men are kept in a state in which, you know, many men are kept in a state in which they cannot achieve that which they desire. So the only time they can enjoy something is when it's offered to them, and then that way they will learn to immediately accept what is offered. And in a way, isn't it like if you have a person or an animal and you want them to eat a specific thing, regardless of what they want to do, you feed them only what you want them to eat, and then they have to choose between starvation or eating what you want, and then they choose to eat what you want them to eat.
Yep. That's how it is. It's like the it's like the Esther Villar I was reading earlier, whatever, that talks about how men they'll get a wife or whatever, and they'll basically accept the little teeny amount of pussy they do get because that's what they want. Once they become married, it's like, and you usually see this in movies and all. Like, what's a good example? Fucking think.
Who does it have in there?
Paul Rudd and it's the one where the wife thinks that he's cheating on her and he's actually playing fantasy football. Do you?
Paul Rudd, I know who you're talking about. He was in oh gosh, I know this. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, he was in that one. Yeah. We watched that one. He was in also oh gosh.
Okay, I know what it is now. It's Knocked Up, the one I told you not to watch because it's not very good. But there's a part in there where she talks about, we don't really get to. She portrays like, you know, well, he doesn't want me anymore, and his wife looks totally good, like she looks really good. And he doesn't want me anymore. He's going out during the week. He's cheating on me. He's actually going out in the week to fucking do his hobbies, which is, you know, he goes to fantasy football. Some nights he goes to see a movie by himself, and she bitches and complains. You might have to watch this now because it's a pretty good scene, but like, she bitches and complains and says, well, I would have wanted to go see Spider-Man, and he's like, she's like, why didn't you invite me? He's like, I need some alone time sometimes. But like, they talk about it in there, I think, that they portray it as if like she wants some dick and he won't give it to her because he's a monster, you know. But a lot of what I see, like, is these guys get married to these fucking poop mouths, and they're like pussy crazy. That's all they want. And they get it like whenever the wife decides, well, let's see, well, it's been about 3 months, I guess you can get a crack at it tonight. That's how it is, though. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, and what pissed me off is if a man were to do the same thing, then he's vilified.
It's like I said, he's a monster because he won't satisfy his woman. If he could satisfied, she wouldn't come to me.
Oh, yeah, The Room. But, you know, I mean...
But you know, like, I don't know if you know, I know a lot of, like, I don't personally know, but I see a lot of, like, when I'm, like, I have certain friends and I'll be over at their parents' house or whatever, and I'll see, like, their dad's, like, some trashy-ass redneck, and the wife's usually some fat bitch. And the redneck, for instance, in his garage will have on the wall, it'll be like a calendar with you know, like centerfold calendar. Yeah, and he's always thinking about that pussy, and he wants it so bad, but he can't get it, so he accepts this, like, very rarely on occasion he'll get some nasty ass fat pussy from his, like, trashy ass wife, and somehow he just is okay with supporting. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Oh,
like,
I know what you're saying.
like, he's got this
he's not allowed to enjoy what he wants.
Yeah, what he really wants, and
therefore he's allowed to, or therefore he has to settle for what he can get.
And he always thinks he's gonna get some of that other kind, but he doesn't. And I think over time he lies himself into believing that, like, he's happy where he is. He's happy being a little fucking worker drone, going to do his goddamn job to support this fucking lazy fat bitch that sits around all day. And she doesn't even have the goddamn courtesy.
You mean he, as the host, works and toils and does what he can to bring in, so the parasite can live off of him.
And I think he makes himself believe that's what, like, he makes himself. He
makes himself believe that it's symbiotic and that he benefits somehow.
Like, he gets benefit out of it, even though, like, he's literally always out in his tool shed looking at it. Man, I Jessica Alba, she looks really good. Like, just throwing out, you know, they all like
hypothetical.
They all like fucking like, well, Angelina Jolie's smoking hot. Like, typical fucking dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
like, a typical normal person would think, like, and they always like worship this false pussy up on their calendar, and then they have to put up with the bargain bin kind, and they don't even get it like every night like they want it. They get it like whenever she decides it's, you know, well.
And that's probably because she loses interest in him also. And but see, another thing, you know, you mentioned that quote from The Room, where you know, if a woman was satisfied, she wouldn't come to me. You know, we see this. You're laughing about it. Yeah, when you keep your stupid comments in your pocket.
Keep your stupid comments in your pocket.
So anyway, we see this phenomenon so often, where if a man cheats on his woman, he is vilified. He is labeled as being the problem because he has commitment issues. That's, you know, he's demonized and labeled for having commitment issues. Meanwhile, if his woman cheats on him, it's still labeled as his fault because he didn't keep her satisfied.
Exactly.
You see exactly how misandric society really is. But we hear endlessly about misogyny.
Or here you go. Like, let's say I come up to you and you pretend you're a normal person. I come up to you and I'll be like, man, my girlfriend dumped me. If you're a normal person, you'd be like, what'd you do? It's always that way. It's always that way. It's never like, well, you know,
well, that evil bitch.
Yeah, or like, what the fuck happened?
Well, sometimes that does happen, but you are right. I mean, it's typically, well, what'd you do to bring it on?
Yeah, like, if you're a dude, if you're a chick, it's like, well, he wasn't good enough for you anyway, girl. You gotta find yourself a real man. Like, what the fuck? It's just sad. Goddamn fucking beak haters.
They do hate the beak.
They do.
Doing this because it is not in her best interest. You know that commonsensically. I know it commonsensically.
That's
You're just saying, I think it will work out.
So people shouldn't get married when they're 18, 19 because they're going to miss out on life?
They do all the time.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Yes, I think 18 and 19 is way too young to get married.
It's true.
Certainly to another 18 or 19-year-old.
Okay. So, if you're an 18 or 19-year-old, what the fuck? He's saying that if...
I think what he's saying...
Oh my God! Well, I know what he's saying, but it makes it sound like a fucking dipshit, because first he says, well, she's too young to get married, especially if you're another 18 or 19-year-old, so... Okay, you should marry someone older? That's what it sounds like he's saying. I know what he's saying. He's saying, and I agree, people shouldn't get married when they're that young.
Even if it's to somebody their own age.
Yeah. But then he says that, and it makes it sound like, well, they shouldn't be getting married to someone that young. Okay, so are they supposed to get married to someone older? Like these two? Are what the fuck? But like, I agree. I don't think people should get married. I don't think they should get married anyway, at all, at any point. But they especially shouldn't get fucking married when they're young, because the toxicity's so concentrated at that point.
Yeah,
you're gonna get fucked, and you're gonna get fucked hard, because it's like, oh, I was married this 19-year-old chick, like what, a Heart song, whatever. And you marry this 19-year-old chick, and let's say
no, he's getting ready to.
I know, but I'm just
engaged,
hypothetically.
Yeah.
Say you're marrying a 19-year-old chick and you're 19 years old, and whenever she gets tired of you, she's gonna basically take whatever she can when she gets a chance to.
No, she already got her fucking Anchor Baby meal ticket.
Anchor Baby meal ticket, that's a good one. ABMT.
So like sandwich.
Because I want you to have an opportunity to respond.
Sure.
Now, James says that the relationship with his former student, Jordan, started after she turned 18. Her mother says that they're just lying.
Of course the mom would say that.
They're just lying. And she has a vagina, so let's listen to what she has to say.
I mean, well, of course the mom's going to be like that.
Exactly. Well, she doesn't approve of it. It's just like earlier, and fucking, he immediately, like, as soon as he gets a chance, like as soon as he has a chance to speak, he's like, well, and he talked, did you do this, and he's like, yeah, that's the truth. Well, I think you're lying. Why? Because the mom thinks he's lying? Like, you're supposed to be objective here. You have no fucking, you're supposed to be like the mediator. You're not supposed to have a fucking opinion already. You're not supposed to be biased. It's like, what do you seriously think? You automatically think that it's a lie because either A, the woman told you to, or B, because he's a guy. Like, which one is it?
Well, you know, like the situation last year in 2011, that girl we both liked, and that we both had the hots for, and all that. And I mean, yeah, it's not only because how she looked. I mean, it's like I mentioned earlier, it's because, well, she's the only person who's really nice to me, you know. And it just, I had this since I was your age, Dylan. I mean, since I was a teenager. You know, I was so gullible. I would just confuse politeness with interest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's what even as recent, of course, I was probably around the age that you were when this happened to you. But when I was working, like, because I didn't, you know, learn any of the stuff till basically this last year. And even as recent as, like, 2011, around this time of year, 2011, I was still thinking this way, like, oh, well, she's being polite and nice to me, she must be interested. Because in my eyes, well, it's just because the way I am to people, it's like, I don't fucking, most people I don't talk to because I have no interest in them. They don't, you know, like, so if someone talks to me, and like makes an effort, because I don't initiate conversations or anything like that, and if someone keeps doing it to me, why are they doing it to me? Well, I must be interested. That's what I used to think.
Exactly. That's me also, because that's what I would do if I were interested. You know, and it's a matter of we project our viewpoints onto them to where we think, well, if we were interested in this girl, then we would be doing this, and since they're doing that, they must be interested. We're seeing, you know, their actions through our own experiences, how we would have done it. And but yeah, I mean, I thought she was interested in me. Some other people did and all that. Apparently she wasn't. And it's fine that she wasn't interested. The point is, she should have made it clear, but she didn't. She led me on and this and that. And the point is, her mom was very, very protective once that rumor got spread and all that I spread. Remember that rumor that I spread the rumor?
Well, basically, she's some religious nut, and she can't have the rumor going around that her daughter's a lesbian, even though the rumor was being spread by someone that was her friend, her daughter's friend. I mean, fuck, was spreading that around. But you got pinned on you. And she couldn't have that, you know, tarnish her reputation at church, so automatically, oh, here's this guy, he got mad because he couldn't have him, he said it. That's basically what it was.
I know, and see what pissed me off? I felt like I was the last person to know about this, you know, this girl being lesbian and all that. and I didn't think she was lesbian. And like, so two people. Well, see, you told me that you saw, you know, the PDA, the public display of affection. And okay, so you told me, you were one of the sources who told me about the public display of affection. I didn't believe it, and then my former owner witnessed it in public. I didn't believe it. So two people told me that they witnessed this stuff in public, and then I didn't believe it. But then somehow the rumor gets spread that I invented the lesbian rumor and then spread it to everybody on the internet. I mean...
you have proof that you weren't.
Yeah, because... like the post, the Facebook post in question, it was so vague, it was so abstract that it can be assumed to be anything, you know, where...
yeah, it can.
I mean, it really was. It's like...
we know what it was because the person that posted it told me that that's what, you know, that's when they figured it out. Because they heard the same things that you heard. Like,
but they heard it after or before?
Okay, here's how it was. She heard the whole, like, oh, they were doing this and such and because she was friends with Victoria or whatever, the clan master. And she'd been friends with her for a long time, and she apparently always had suspicions. But then when she heard about all the PDA going on between them, and
yeah, the public display of affection,
and all that shit, she's like, oh, okay, makes sense now. Basically, went on YouTube or Facebook, posted that, but didn't say what it was, and posted like, oh, I know something about you now, and it makes sense, and blah, 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 blah. And then you get blamed for it.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's like, and then, yeah, it was just basically where she said, oh, Victoria, I finally learned something about you that I never knew before, and blah, blah. And Victoria's like, oh, well, what is it? And then, you know, and then the person said, whoa, you know, so-and-so told me, and all that. And it's so vague. And then yet, you know, and then the person who accuses me, for the purpose of saving, you know, this person's trying to save face in the religious community, this person then accuses me, calls me up, and accuses me of originating the rumor on the internet, and that the whole internet saw the rumor about her daughter being lesbian, when nothing, no L word, no lesbian, nothing was mentioned on there by anybody at all at any time. And the original post could have been interpreted as anything. Oh, I've found something out about you, and it could have been that you have a meth lab, or it could have been that they, you know, that they cheated on a history exam.
She just wants to fucking shove her head, bury her head in the sand, though, and it makes it easier for her to blame something on you, because then she doesn't have to acknowledge it. Oh, what was it? Because she knows, but she doesn't want to admit that she knows that her daughter's a fucking goddamn fur trader. And she doesn't want to admit that, so she has to pawn it off on, well, he made it up.
And then she says to me, well, yes, I know they hold hands. They do it in front of me all the time, and that's fine. It doesn't mean that they're lesbians. Oh, but if a guy holds hands, it means they're gay, doesn't it? I mean, see, okay, for example, yes, holding hands does mean that you're intimate. Because when... this is back in 2011 when Robert Pattinson was caught sitting in the back seat of a vehicle with his female friend holding hands. All of a sudden, according to Kristen Stewart, that means that Robert Pattinson was cheating on her with another girl just because Robert Pattinson was holding this girl's hand. So yes, it does mean that you're intimate whenever you're holding hands. Okay? Fuck you if you don't agree. Fuck you if you have a different opinion. It fucking means that, because women will hold that over men's heads and accuse men. And see, really, it's revealed. It really is intimate when you're holding hands and all that. Oh, but if two girls are holding hands? No, it just means they're best fucking friends. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's pretty, I mean, even if they were, you know, whatever, holding hands. It's like, you know, why hold hands? It's like, yeah, you know, they also sleep in the same bed. What does that mean?
Oh, that's right, they do sleep in the same bed.
So, is that just, what the fuck? I mean, yeah,